This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to DRTSPR show. That means Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to first my guest, Mr. Ravichandran Swaminathan ji. You can whatever synonyms, adjectives to his character. It's up to you. Web crime analyst to the social activism and the financial or developmental aspects, environmental aspects, everything he has mastered. Today's show will be a special one in the category which we have been finalizing since I think last 1 week or so. As usual, Ravichandranji always observes how things have been going around. Why? Because when it comes to the nation, our identity, our sovereignty, our resources, natural resources, our human resources, and our lives, that plays a predominant role in the era of globalization. When I'm why I'm saying ours is the aborigines philosophy theory always inherits the natural resources combined with your efforts as human. Your resources also will form into a national building exercise, economics or else otherwise, for the present and for your kith and kin in the future. So either way, it is you, the aborigine, in that respective country or state or panchayat holds prominence. That is why in the era of globalization, I am trying to identify such. Otherwise, you will get carried away, all your resources will be looted, no accountability and no transparency, and you will become enslaved for long. So that is the reason why I hope you have understood. We are coming to the same Adani topic. The Adani empire, definitely. No individual, whether it is Adani, Ambani, or otherwise, should not grow beyond India. India means people, the public, because all the resources belonging to everyone. Then how can two or three people mastermind it and become neo-rich and rich, as has been happening in the so-called capitalist countries, America and Europe, which Ravichandranji has been establishing right from the day one? How can one grow so big than the entire country when the resources belong to everyone? So that is how the inequalities develop. That will lead to the most corrupt practices in the world. With that money, you want to control everything. The first thing will be the parties in power. The democracies just will become a laughing stock, because these people who have become neo-rich, they try to fund the parties or their representatives, so that this chain of nepotism, favoritism, or corruption, or whatever you call looting of resources, I say, when because you are growing, becoming bigger than the nation. When such is the case, it is nothing but corruption. You indulge in corrupt practices. So you want to control such polity, the party in power, through them, the administrators or the officialdom, through them, the prospered media sponsored very well by the political parties or the corporates. At the end of the day, you give the information which you think is important to you, and people should not know what is really happening. And that is the crux of Adani and Hindenburg. I will say it is a bug. The bug not only biting Adani, but the honor of India as such, the economical spirit of India as such. We'll take first forward comments from Swaminathanji, Ravichandran Swaminathanji. Then I'll try to show you some as usual. Yes, sir. Welcome to the special show again.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy, and thank you for having me on your show. We will start with Hindenburg. Nathan Anderson. He is the founder of that company, Hindenburg. Hindenburg was the name of a German balloon airship which burst into flames. And yesterday we had an American
I
F-16,
saw
F-18
it.
shooting down a
Chinese.
Chinese balloon. So they are using a missile to shoot a balloon instead of using something simpler. And it is a similar attack on Indian corporates. Normally, in any investigation work that I am given, I start out with the complainant. So here I start out with Hindenburg and Nathan Anderson. He has done several work before coming into forensic auditing and investigative journalism. This is basically investigative journalism, and he wanted to make money out of it. Hindenburg is famous for its short selling activities. They select a company, go through its balance sheets, then they short sell it. Short selling is in the sense, now let us say that a company's share is selling at 15 rupees per share. So what these people will do, they will sell it at 12 rupees. They won't have the shares on hand. They will sell it at 12 rupees in the hope that the share price should come down. And they give a negative report on that company so that the company share price crashes, valuation crashes, and when it comes down to around 8 or 9 rupees, they purchase the share and make good their transaction. So in between, they make some money. Now, this opens another possibility also, which has to be checked. If I target a company and if I have sufficient money so that I short sell it or I propose to short sell it. So before proposing to short sell it, I can go to the company's managing director and tell him that I'm going to short sell your company if you don't pay me so much. It is practically blackmail. We don't know. But one thing is sure, these people have targeted Adani. Now my question is, why Adani? Why should they target Adani? What reason? Because even in the Fortune 500 companies, Adani doesn't come anywhere in the first 10 or 20. There are other bigger companies which have got more problems associated with them. Instead of targeting that, why should it target Adani? And this is the first Indian company which has been targeted by the Americans. So this is how the story goes now. Now we know that there is an anti-India lobby actively working in US. They are being funded by George Soros and the Vatican. The church is also funding them. Most of the money is coming through the church NGOs into the country. Now they have got a lot of people inside India who are helping them. People like Rana Ayub, Barkadat, Arundhati Roy, our own Mahua Moitra, TMC opposition leader. So many people are there who, because of their hatred for Modi, they don't mind bringing down the country also. If the country's name is spoiled, as long as Modi's name is also spoiled, they won't mind it. They also contribute to it. Because when you go through the Hindenburg report, a 106-page report, he has quoted a lot of people. People with not a very big credibility. Like if Hindenburg had quoted Raghuram Rajan also, I would have said okay. But he has not quoted Raghuram Rajan. So we will go out with this. Now, there are 5 charges that he has made. Basically, it boils down to 5, 6 charges that he has made. The first charge is, he says that Rajesh Adani, Gautam Adani's brother, he was involved in over invoicing diamond exports. Now there is a system in Indian diamond trade where you can import diamonds, wash it, sieve it, and value it, and you can export it back. Now this washing and sieving is a process. And suppose you buy diamonds for about 1 lakh, you can sell it back at 1 lakh 5,000 or 1 lakh 10,000 rupees. So the charge against Rajesh Adani was he simply imported the diamond and sent it back as a, and in that difference he took the money. So this was the charge. Now this was filed by the DRI, Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. They went on appeal to the appellate tribunal, Customs and Excise Appellate Tribunal. Appellate Tribunal said that what he has done is correct. So that charge was set right, was annulled. Then the second charge that they made was Vijay Adani, Gautam Adani's eldest brother. He is holding a lot of shell companies. Number of shell companies was around 58 or 60. And most of these, he was operating from Dubai, and most of these companies were based in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Mauritius. And what the charge was, these people are round tripping money. That is, taking cash from India, going to Mauritius, and then bringing it back and investing it in the shares of Adani. And this money was belonging to Adani. So the question is, where did Adani get this money from? So this is another charge that they have made. Then the third charge that they have made is that these people are actually money laundering. They are laundering money by this round tripping. Then the fourth charge that they made against Adani was he was manipulating the share prices. The manipulation of the share prices took place in 2004-5 when Ketan Parekh was that scam happened.
Harshad Mehta and Ketan Parekh.
Yes, after Harshad Mehta, Ketan Parekh.
Yes.
So the charge was that he has Ketan Parekh, he took the assistance of Ketan Parekh to manipulate the prices of the shares. So this is for fourth charge. So basically the issue is these charges were made against Gautam Adani.
Out of 88,
And
these are the prominent ones.
yes. Now
Yeah.
basically Adani had about 7 companies which are involved in all this. And the number of subsidiaries that Adani had was shell companies. Basically, these are all shell companies. And these shell companies amounted to somewhere around 58 or something like that. 58 shell companies through which all this money was being moved around. And the initial capital, the charges that it was coming through diamond trade, or Choksi or our Nirav Modi were funding it and all that. Whatever it is. Adani started sometime in the late 1990s, early 1990s. And most of his growth, initial growth at least, happened in the period between 2004 and 2014 when the Congress was in power.
That's interesting. So I need to play some Rahul Gandhi's this thing. I think I need to show you that. While you comment today in the parliament also, you was just making something. You speak, sir. I'll just
Uh,
show.
2004, between 2004 and 2014, when the Congress was in power, the banks and LIC had loaned money to Adani to set up his unit. Even the Mundra port was given to Adani because of this. And that was
Okay.
his first venture.
But here Rahul Gandhi says in between 2014 and 2022, 8 billion to 140 billion. During
So,
Bharat Jodo Yatra, people asked me how Adani's net worth increased from $8 billion to $140 billion between 2014 and 2022, but you are making an interesting claim that in between 2004 and 2014, Congress UPA regime is the one which has helped him through LIC and other things. It's interesting.
Other day, yes. So
It is very interesting.
his maximum debt was at that period of time.
Hmm.
And as he grew from 2014, there were a lot of changes in the government policies also towards companies, corporates, and they were asking people to invest. Now, between 2014 and 2000 till date, his total holdings went very high, no doubt about that. But
I'll just play this once.
yeah,
भ्रष्टाचार हुआ है जो हिंदुस्तान का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैप्चर किया गया है उसके बारे में डिस्कशन हो और अदानी जी के पीछे कौन सी शक्ति है वो भी देश को पता लग जाए
Well, that was Congress MP Rahul Gandhi once again reiterating the Congress's.
I'll try to play it once again for you to understand.
no, I got it.
Standpoint that there should be a thorough investigation that should be ordered as far as the Adani enterprise is concerned. He feels that if the entire matter is probed thoroughly, the truth is going to come out as to who is trying to protect and shield Gautam Adani and his enterprise.
Chalo, this is the Indian angle because we have discussed the international angle, 4-5 questions, and the internal angle also we are trying to show so that um, uh, you can answer it. You can respond
Now
to
he
that.
is asking for investigation about who is behind Adani. I am telling them that it was the Congress was behind Adani.
Is this enough? No, I don't need to again.
No, you need not play it again. It
I
was
need
the
not play it,
Congress.
I need not show. And not only that, here is the interesting claim which he makes. See here. It's a big. During Bharat Jodo Yatra, people asked me how Adani's net worth increased from 8 billion to 140 billion between 2014 and 2022. This also should be kept in mind.
Okay. No,
Okay.
I'll come to that also.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Now I'm coming out of the, so I need not share to the world. So we can discuss international and national ramifications. Right, sir? Please go ahead.
The first seeding was done by the Congress itself. Now I can accuse the Congress of being behind Adani between 2004 and 2014. In case he says that Adani was worth $8 billion in 2014, then my question is, how did Adani get to $8 billion in the first instance?
You mean to say Congress is playing the role of Indian Hindenburg? I don't know.
Now you see, Rahul is saying a lot of things. But why is Chidambaram keeping quiet?
That is interesting. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Why is Chidambaram keeping quiet? And Chidambaram was the finance minister then. Twice, not once. So
maybe after this show, he may come back to you again, as did Nirmala Sitharamanji with crypto and everything.
Yeah. So now you see, the initial $8 billion was made between 2004 and 2014. He was investigated for manipulating the shares. He was charged for doing that. And subsequently, he was let out also because the question of over-invoicing of diamonds was gone into by the tribunal, appellate tribunal, and they threw it out. Supreme Court finalized that case. They said that there is no hanky-panky there. Even in the case, in the subsequent case of this manipulation of shares also, SEBI went into it. SEBI investigated a lot of people, out of which Adani was also one of them, and they did not find anything wrong in what he had done. So that was also dropped. And all this happened in Congress period. So by the same logic, should I say that Congress people were helping him? If today they say that Modi is helping him, then earlier Congress helping him when Congress was in power. And today if Rahul Gandhi says that he is using ED, CBI and all that, then shouldn't I say that Chidambaram was using CBI, ED and all that? So that is another thing. Now the net effect is, as of December end, Adani was sitting over a huge, humongous amount of shares. Now the shares, suppose, let us assume that, for example, that the companies are all fake companies or dummy companies or shell companies without any this thing, and it is just laundering money. And it is just laundering money. Do you think that investors will invest in it? And do you think that any promoter will hold 60%, 70%, 30%, 40% of his own shares if it is a dummy company and trade it in the market? So these are things that has to be gone through. Now, why was Adani targeted? The clear picture which emerges out of all this is, they wanted to hit the BJP because there is always a possibility. Now I am not discounting the possibility also. Money from Adani could have gone into the BJP, or for that matter any other party including the Congress.
Because the electoral bonds, now you don't know.
Electoral
Electoral
bonds,
bonds, you
exactly.
cannot source electoral bonds. Maybe
Yes.
Congress is brooding that Adani or Ambanis have not contributed as much as they to their liking. But this is also wrong on part of Modi, because all political parties supported to this political, what should I say, the electoral bonds became opaque by the support of all political parties during COVID-19.
Everybody has got a hand in it.
That's what. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Everybody has got a hand in it then. So why single out BJP or why single out Modi? So now, basically the point is, they wanted to hit the BJP or Modi or the Indian government financially. That is why. And the another issue is Adani ports. Adani was expanding in ports. He had taken Mundra port of the Gujarat, this thing, Vizhinjam port. He has also taken Israeli port. Now, the problem is, when he starts taking all these ports, Chinese interest is being affected. China wanted to control all the ports around India in the Indian Ocean. Now, when Adani steps in and he starts taking over these ports, then Chinese interests are affected. So it is quite possible that the Chinese were also funding this Hindenburg. And I don't discount that possibility, because Biden's brother Hunter is in very close connection with the Chinese people. In fact, Biden's election itself was influenced and financed by the Chinese party. The Chinese influenced the American electorate, funded Biden's presidential this thing to make him the president. So Chinese hand also cannot be discounted because of this reason. So they wanted to hit at Adani. Now Hindenburg, now coming back to Hindenburg. When Hindenburg releases this thing, they are talking about transparency, they are talking about honesty. But what is the background of Hindenburg? They themselves are subject of investigation of the Department of Justice of the US government for malpractices on the stock exchange. The same charge that they made against Adani was leveled against them also. Manipulation of share prices. And the the Department of Justice has given instructions to Hindenburg that they should not publish any report about any company which is listed on the New York Stock Exchange.
Interesting. What is that? Can you repeat it once again for the viewers to understand?
See, Hindenburg was a subject of investigation by the Department of Justice for their manipulation of shares by short selling and releasing negative reports of the company and driving the prices down so that they can make a killing by buying it back at a lower price. Selling it at a higher price and buying it at a lower price. So effectively what they have done is, like I said earlier, I sell a share at a high price, a share which I don't own, and when the prices start coming down, I buy these shares to square up the deal transaction. So I make money. Now, this how can I drive down the shares? By releasing a negative report about the company. And just because I'm an investigator of a company, that does not mean that I can destroy the reputation of a company just like that. This is what the Department of Justice has also said. So they said that Hindenburg should not publish the reports of any company which is listed on the New York Stock Exchange. There are strictures against Hindenburg also. And now they are investigating another 5 short selling activities of Hindenburg. So in US, Hindenburg does not have a good reputation because it is on the radar of the Department of Justice for malpractices on this share market, which is the charge which he has leveled against Adani. It is a question of the pot calling the kettle black. Or in Tamil we say, Iyata Pati Ilichidam Pitala. Now, about round tripping. Round tripping is also, why did, you see, it is very interesting, Dr. Reddy. Now, he says shell companies are created in Mauritius and money is diverted from Mauritius into the Indian Stock Exchange to boost up these shares. That is, a round tripping of money is being done. Now, who has permitted it? Chidambaram has permitted it by participatory notes. He has made it legal. So why blame BJP or the Modi government for that?
Are
It
you
is
sure?
not these people's
You are
idea.
making a big claim. We should not become a pamphlet of any party, but you are making a big claim against Chidambaram and
Yes,
Congress again.
yes, because participatory notes was introduced. He took the credit for it. I am not saying it. He took the credit for it. Dream
Mr. P.
budget.
Chidambaram.
Yes, participatory notes was introduced by P. Chidambaram in his dream budget. And when Yashwant Sinha was the finance minister and he stopped the participatory notes, immediately the stock market crashed. Then again they reintroduced it. Then it was continued. At one point, Chidambaram even said that it is not possible to stop the participatory notes now. So the Congress party has made round tripping legal. Now, what is the point in Hindenburg saying that this is not correct? What
No, I
right
think
has
both Rahul Gandhi and Hindenburg should now take clue from what they have done in the past. Mr. P.
uh,
Chidambaram as finance minister.
yes? Now, actually, if Rahul Gandhi has to criticize somebody, he has to criticize Chidambaram for that. What
So my
right
goodness.
does he have to talk anything about this? See, this is another issue. Round tripping is now legal here. Round tripping of money is legal here. You can even take it out by cryptocurrency because Nirmala Sitharaman has said 30% tax on that.
That's what.
Ah,
Both are
so,
involved. All political parties are one and the same.
and
It's not
today in the budget, Nirmala Sitharaman doesn't talk about cryptocurrency at all.
at all. That's what
In her
surprising.
entire speech, she has not mentioned anything about cryptocurrency or how much taxes she has collected because of that.
Election year, they are funding them.
So,
God knows. Yeah, please go ahead.
so you see, one link goes to another link.
Yeah.
One link goes to another link and comes back. Okay. Now, the third reason why Adani was targeted was he is now promoted that green energy, Adani green energy and hydrogen. Today, India is one of the largest producers of hydrogen. And if hydrogen is going to become the fuel of the future, India will become the Saudi Arabia of, just as Saudi Arabia was for oil, India will become for hydrogen. That means we will control the entire energy market.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Wonderful. It's an important statistics. I think Mr.
We
Edenberg
are
was
in a
trying.
position to control the energy market if we get all the energy, all the renewable sources of energy up and running, hydrogen, solar and electrical. See, the plan of this government is initially you start out with electric vehicles. because at some point, when the number of electrical vehicles goes up, you will face the environmental problem of disposing of the electrical waste. So
Yes.
at some point, even this will be junked, and we will go in for clean fuels like hydrogen or solar power. And that is why the Congress government itself has invited Adani to set up the biggest solar plant in this part of the world in Rajasthan.
Oh,
Once that gets up and running, the entire Western India power needs will be met by the solar energy. This thing, and similar this thing we have it in Tamil Nadu also, Ramnad district. That is also
no,
managed by Adani.
Rajasthan Congress is in power now. Rajasthan Congress is in power, and Tamil Nadu DMK friend of Congress is in power. But Rahul Gandhi is
So,
not having any idea about these things.
see, he doesn't, and he has been walking through all these places, looking at all these things. So, doesn't it occur to him that, Arey Baba, we have only funded all these things?
Okay, interesting, very interesting.
Vizhinjam port in Trivandrum, that is being opposed by the church. Vizhinjam port is being opposed by the church because it is under Adani. Now Adani has been, and who is in power in Kerala? Communist Party.
Yeah, and
It
church
is
is
not BJP
opposing.
who is in power.
Church is opposing the takeover
Yes,
of Vizhinjam port by the Adani group.
Adani's. So what business does the church have in a port?
Now you have to reveal that to the entire viewers. Why Church
So
of Kerala? Why they are interested?
why are they interested in that? So now you see the link between ports, church, Hindenburg, and Soros.
Can you connect them once again for the viewers?
See, it is very simple. They want to target Adani because of two, three things. Number one, ports. Because Adani is acquiring ports left, right, and center, which is putting up the Chinese plans into disarray. Because they wanted to capture all the ports and encircle India so that India cannot move her navy in Indian Ocean. They want to
Okay,
control Indian Ocean because
right.
the Malacca straits are there in Indonesia, between just south of Andamans and into south of Malaysia and Indonesia. It goes into this thing, and this is a very small strait. Whoever controls the Malacca Strait will be able to control this area. Now the
One.
Chinese are trying to control it. This government is now building up a port in Nicobar Islands to control Malacca Strait. This should have been done about 20 years earlier, 30 years earlier, but at least now they are doing it. And other ports in Colombo, Amambota port, we have seen how the
Yes,
Chinese
last.
have taken it over.
Yeah.
Now we have, if you put this Vizhinjam port, then automatically Amambota port can be covered. Then you have a port in Maldives. You have a port in Mauritius. You have a port in Djibouti, Ethiopia. You have another port in Red Sea, and you have the Gwadar port in Balochistan, Pakistan, and all these ports are being controlled by the Chinese. There's another port in Myanmar, Coco Islands.
Hmm.
So all these are controlled by the Chinese. Now, by taking Haifa port from the Israelis, Adani has given us a foothold in the Mediterranean now. From there, they can cover the Chinese ports in Ethiopia and Red Sea, and maybe the Gwadar port also. So, if the Chinese are drawing a circle, the Adanis are drawing a bigger circle around that. That is all. So, the Chinese are also interested in pulling this man down. And the third reason is green energy. Green energy is being promoted left, right, and center. So much of money is being allocated for that. And this man has got projects running already. Hydrogen manufacturing units, solar power manufacturing land given by the Congress government and the DMK government. So, where is the question of only the BJP or saying that Adani is only BJP man? Everybody has got a finger in their pies.
Electoral bonds.
Yes, electoral bond. Everybody wants this money. But the bigger danger is if Hindenburg company is just a small company with about 5 or 8 employees, that's all. If a small company with just 8 employees sitting with a computer in US can bring down a company like this, then just look at the security of our corporates. Tomorrow it can be even Ambani, Mukesh Ambani.
Yeah, that's it. And we are very clear to your viewers. We are not siding with Adanis or Ambanis. We have our own grouse against them that they cannot grow bigger than India, people of India. That is one aspect that should be borne in your mind. But we are trying to bring out the facts and figures and the reasons in a meticulous way, in a legalized way, to make you to understand as to why an Edinburgh company with five and the pot calling the kettle black, and they indulged, and the social justice department what it's doing with Edinburgh company, it has been revealed. Now interesting fact, who is funding them? The George Soros, and the churches Vatican, he said, and the church Vatican in Kerala, that Vijayanam Po, the church is opposing that. That you connect, sir. This quadrilateral you connect first.
So this is the thing. These people are funding it. They have put up a person. He has made money on that. The net result is the Indian corporate is affected. Now, my question is, if if the government is really interested in developing this country, why can't they change the laws? You see, the problem that Adani is facing now is he doesn't have the laws to proceed against Hindenburg. There are no laws.
But I am told in the last another big man show that the US court will make him to reveal everything, the hidden. That's what the fudging of accounts or the fudging of whatever you said, that he has to submit, so everything will bear out. That is the reason why he cannot go to US and file anything.
See, when you say that this Adani cannot go to US court and file a case against Hindenburg, then doesn't that reflect a weakness on your own laws? Arey Baba, if somebody murdered somebody here, why should I go to America to prosecute them? Do you mean to say that there is no law, no, this country doesn't have any law, or nobody has any faith in the judiciary? That's a different issue. So you now, if that big man says that you will have to reveal all your documents in US courts, so he is acknowledging that there are no laws in India.
Yeah, because our own polity, whether it is BJP or Congress, you
Ah,
see the fate of Indians. The
so
Sibyl,
so
Sibyl
so
server is in US, Sibyl server is in US. The Google and YouTube, they don't have any legal office in India, but still, in the name of community guidelines, they'll pull down as they have been doing with the DRTSPR channels. I have written to Prime Minister, he keeps quiet. Opposition
no,
leader, they keep quiet.
they keep quiet.
Everything
Now
is
in
in US. Our financial details servers like Sibyl, the entire banking transactions are controlled by US. The other day also we have done another show. Even for that matter, the server is in US, whether it is crypto or and all. That day also we discussed. Now, even the Google and YouTube shamelessly, and the courts also doesn't come to our rescue, nor the government is coming to our rescue. And in fact, they are trying to help them. When such is the state of our governance, what can you expect, Mr. Ravichandran ji?
so what is the point in blaming US courts for that? If you don't have the laws, Arey Baba, you make the laws here. You make the
They
laws here.
also,
What is
Edinburgh,
that?
why doesn't the Edinburgh investigate that Google and YouTube doesn't have a legal office in India?
Uh,
How can
now
they try to take our information and make merry
they are doing it.
economically and politically and socially? Edinburgh
They are
doesn't
doing it.
talk.
Now, in another instance also, what was SEBI doing? What was the role of SEBI? They are supposed to be regulating the stock markets. So if somebody is short selling a top corporate company, why didn't it raise red flags on the stock exchange? Why was SEBI keeping quiet? Only after the entire thing blew up and came into the papers, then SEBI said, okay, we will investigate. And we have found some unusual movements in the stock exchange. So what were they doing all the time when the unusual movements were taking place? Why didn't they stop it at that point of time? And
The
remember,
chairman and director, they're already languishing in the jail.
ah, now I'll come to that point also. I will come to that point also. As far as Adani is concerned, it is a small matter. What about your National Stock Exchange, NSE? NSE was also being funded by 6, not 1, by 6 shell companies from the Maldives, from Mauritius. This I've already explained in the earlier show also, Chitra Ramakrishnan. So now today, Rahul Gandhi cannot talk about shell companies of Vijay Adani and keep quiet about the shell companies which had invested in National Stock Exchange. That was a Chinese company which had invested in Tiger Holdings
There
or
should be
something like that.
We are demanding a discussion on the floor of parliament because parliament is in session. Telangana assembly, likewise other assemblies are in session. This concerns the national economy, security of our economy, of our resources, of our people. You should be
No,
discussing this. Chinese shell companies funding national stock exchange. Opposition parties, why are you keeping quiet?
what? And today, what right has the opposition got to talk about Adani when an opposition leader, Maua Moitra, is being quoted by Hindenburg? Maua Moitra is being quoted by Hindenburg to buttress his, to prove his argument that Adani was laundering money.
Moitra, she's an MP of Trinamool Congress, right? If I'm
Yes,
wrong,
she is an MP of Trinamool Congress. Earlier,
is
she
she an
was the
economist?
vice president in JP Morgan.
Uh-huh.
She was an investment banker. She was an
Mhm.
investment banker. That is why they have done a lot of investment in Sharda and Narda.
Mm.
Why? Now, how can the opposition talk about Adani or have any discussion or have a JPC when they themselves are involved in this? How this is how can the prosecutor be the judge and the jury?
Yes. Yeah.
How can the prosecutor be the judge and the jury?
So joint parliament committee, they cannot demand. So it should
They
be an
cannot.
independent investigative agency, you mean to say, to
Yes.
investigate if at all. Or else first there should be a discussion on the floor of parliament. Even government should initiate a discussion.
What discussion can be initiated? What discussion can be initiated with whom? Everybody has got their hands black.
Worst scenario in the parliament. Very sorry to say. Very sorry state of affairs. I hope the people of India, the citizens of India who themselves are a constitutional authority, this is a big claim here. Everyone turned black. With whom we should discuss?
With whom
If
can
we
you
are
discuss
leaving
this?
it, with whom we should discuss now?
Now,
The,
who is the actually who has lost money now? Not the banks. The banks have made profits because the total exposure of all the public sector banks is a very minimal. Is very minimal. The total exposure to all the banks, public sector, private, financial institutions, everything is less than 40, 30, 35, around 35, 36%. And it has been brought down also. So where is the question of the banks or the LIC or State Bank of India losing money? And when that is why I said investment banker within quotes. When an investment banker like Maua Moitra, who should know her what she's talking, when she says that State Bank of India has loaned 27,000 crores to Adani, that is stupidity. State Bank's exposure is something around 2,500 or 2,600 crores, which is less than 1% of what their total dues are. So, and their assets. They have got all the assets and the collaterals for that. So that way that the banks are not losing any money. Only problem is now because of these issues, Adani had floated some bonds. Now those bonds are being sold at a discount. So now he has to make good of that. So the only way that Adani can come is he'll have to retrieve the bonds by paying the money. Now if he pays the money, then his expansion plans will be hurt.
Settled. Yes, that's where. Yes, go ahead.
Now you see, because of this incident, expansion of Adani is now being curtailed. And why? Because we do not have the, see, there is no point in saying make in India, made for India, made for the globe and all that. You have multinationals, you have global industries and all that. If you don't have the laws to protect the companies which are growing, when you don't
Maybe
have the
instead of
laws to protect the companies which are growing, what is the point in telling them you go and do business outside the India?
maybe you should have a public sector unit undertaking everything. Government should have proposed right from UPA so that India would have followed instead of privatizing globalization, all this at the cost of our own resources and our pride. And yes, sir, go ahead. Very,
And
very.
at the end of the day, it is only the retail investors, the few retail investors who put their money in Adani, they have been hurt. Now they will not come to the stock exchange. So whose loss is it? किसका विनाश हुआ?
किसका विकास और किसका विनाश?
किसका विकास हुआ? किसका विनाश हुआ? Hindenburg made money. George Soros got his way. America got its way. China got its way because now Adani cannot expand. So उनका विकास हो गया. अदानी का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है क्योंकि उसका पैसा उसका ही नहीं है, but he has made money.
He has made money good and he has got stable position.
Yes, the parties, they have also made money.
All political parties.
Finally, it is only you and me who are investing in the stock exchange. We lose money. That's all.
Commoner.
And it is a good thing. As far as Adani is concerned, the amount of retail investors is very low. So the damage is not much. But what happens if a similar attack is conducted on Reliance?
Geo.
Complete Reliance group, on Mukesh Ambani's group. What happens if a similar attack is done on them? 5 people sitting in America start short selling Reliance and then put out allegations. And incidentally, these allegations of Hindenburg, they have not backed by any proof at all. They have taken out news reports from Bloomberg, which is an anti-Indian company. Bloomberg journalists. These people have been giving them the details. Bloomberg, WSJ, our own Rana Ayub is sitting there in New York. See, these people are conspiring to bring down Modi and weaken this country so that they will not pose a challenge to them in the future. And it is always on this thing. Just like what America did to Pakistan, America wants to do to India. You make India dependent on US and at any time they can leave you and go. This is what is happening. That is why at the beginning itself I said there is no point in targeting Adani or Ambani.
Yeah.
The government is at fault for not preparing the proper laws. The regulators have failed in their duty of regulating this thing. And the Reserve Bank of India, what was it doing? When round tripping is taking place and this thing, so many billions of rupees are going out and coming, doesn't the Reserve Bank know about it? So what are they doing? The same thing happened in Punjab National Bank also. And that time they said we didn't know about it. To paraphrase the Reserve Bank governor, it is a system failure. It is not a system failure. It is a systematic failure every time.
That too when
They fail
Parliament is in session.
systematically.
Parliament is in session. Budget is Indian budget is being, my goodness, such an issue, serious issue. Who should resign? Who should own up the responsibility? Now
Ask
they should.
a corporate minister to take responsibility because SEBI comes under them.
Now
What is
RBI
SEBI
comes under
doing?
finance.
What
RBI
is
comes
SEBI
under
doing?
finance ministry.
What is,
So who
forget
has to
RBI.
resign? It's a
What is
SEBI.
SEBI? What was SEBI doing?
The
What were
entire
the
SEBI
stock
and
exchanges doing?
worst. When
The
someone is
short selling was
targeting,
not happening in US. It was happening in India. So what was
that's what.
SEBI doing? What was the National Stock Exchange with their all fantastic future computers doing algo trading and all that? What were they doing?
What were they doing? So these are the
Uh,
pertinent questions now the parliament in session should discuss. That's why we
so
said public sector units.
what is the point in constituting a JPC with opposition members who are directly involved in this scam?
The big claim you're making. It's a
Yes,
big claim. So
Mahua
Sharada and
Moitra has been quoted by Hindenburg.
okay, she has been
So what
quoted by
right do
Hindenburg
these
and
people have?
she has been quoted by Hindenburg. That's why we are
Yes,
taking the umbrage of Hindenburg report. You have to answer to the parliament, madam. We have nothing against you, no grouse against you. But you are a banker yourself. JP Morgan, you are the vice president. And then what is that scam which you are referring to in Kolkata, Bengal?
Sharada and Narda chit
Sharda and
funds.
Narda scam, chit fund
Ah,
scam. Oh, she.
that was in West Bengal. Nobody is asking questions about it.
So Sharda and Narada scam. What happened to that? Trinamool Congress MP Moitra ji, you have to answer.
Chidambaram's wife, Nalini Chidambaram's property was seized by ED 2 3 days back. Money laundering activities.
They don't speak about that.
They don't
And
speak about that.
Rahul Gandhi also keeping quiet on participatory notes. This round tripping has become legal in India by your own P. Chidambaram as the finance minister then.
Yes.
And Adani prospered during your time. And Adani now prospering with alternate renewable sources of energy in Rajasthan and in Tamil Nadu, where Congress is in power in
And
Rajasthan and Congress and DMK is in power. Is this all because now the electoral bonds, the funding of political parties by corporates or businessmen has become opaque? Is that the reason why you are playing around and playing with the fortunes of the country? People. And not only that, we have been right from the day one saying no one should grow beyond India. India means public, public means resources belong to them, everything belongs to every citizen. You should never allow companies to grow big as is happening in America. It is a capitalist country. Ours is a welfare state. And capitalist country, the way they are funding, you see their election mode. You want similar type of democracy to prevail here? It's a people
even
participate constitutional democracy.
even in
How
America, there are antitrust laws. Even in America, companies are not allowed to grow indiscriminately. There are antitrust laws which
yeah.
president can invoke and break up the company also. It has happened in the past also. This antitrust laws was introduced when Roosevelt was during the Great Depression, 1930s.
But see, the Bill Gates is expanding the entire land, everything, resources is maneuvering 2 or 3 people, but America doesn't because they are all being funded by them. Their patriotism prevails, the law of
Why
the
did
land.
why hasn't Hindenburg investigated Pfizer?
That's what he himself, your own
That is the
so
biggest scam.
federal court clearly came out with so many, and it forced Pfizer to reveal in the trial stage itself they have done so much and that too playing with the lives of Americans. How many Americans have died? Edinburgh keep silent. And how CDC or FDA keep on changing their look stands on COVID-19. Edinburgh doesn't come out with that. And how these people are funding World Health Organization, how it is trying to dictate the world. making world to lose their health, which is their wealth. How many innocents have died in this COVID-19? Hindenburg doesn't speak about that. And what does these vaccines contain? Did you ever reveal? And what about that flu? How many vaccines you are taking? Americans are taking. Why should they take so many vaccines? Is there no natural immunity for Americans? Why this pharma or industry related controlled CDC and FDA? And the same thing you are trying to influence through WHO. You want that entire system to prevail in the world. Thank God people have understood the effect of vaccines. Now they will wane away. Yesterday also we were listening to Dr. Peter McCullough. He says 70 vax shots for innocent children in America. Why do you need, Mr. Hindenburg? You don't investigate that. The health of the Americans. You don't investigate. Did you investigate Moitra's why she had to quit that banking and what has happened that with that Sharada and Narada case in Bengal? Did you investigate that during the regime of UPA, Adani started growing? Alternate renewable sources of big plants are there in Rajasthan, controlled by Congress and Tamil Nadu DMK. We are not against anyone. Right from the day one, we were saying no one should grow beyond India, whether it is Adani or Ambani, whoever it is. Never try to play with public sector units because their transparency is there, accountability is there, and they are our natural resources. And at least this time, BSNL, they are funding. I don't know why they are funding. They want to make it stronger so that it can again give away to all these private entrepreneurs. We don't know, God knows. So what is that? That four links: Soros, Hindenburg, Soros, Church, and Vision Port.
Chinese.
Can you
Chinese
just
link.
connect? Now, what is
The
the
Chinese link? Adani
what is
ports. Adani ports to circle. Adani's ports were encircling Chinese ports. So the Chinese people have got an interest in this. Virinjam port, the church is interested in blocking that because they don't want Adani to come into Kerala. In fact, Kerala communists gave the port to Adani. In parliament, they are abusing Adani. In Kerala, they are calling Adani and telling him, you please run the port.
port and airport also?
Airport.
Thiruvananthapuram.
Now, yes. Today, Parliament, Rahul Gandhi was saying that 6 airports have been handed over to Adani. They have not given anything to GVK and GMR. So now Rahul, so should I say that Rahul Gandhi is acting for GVK and GMR?
No, the way they have taken over Maharashtra from GVK, that has to be investigated, ED and all. Yeah, in the same pursuit, should we say that you are speaking on behalf of GVK and GMR? So that is why we want politicians to understand that this is the problem related to the country. That means the people of India, and the truth should come out. We are interested in truth, and if the loss is being sustained by average Indian, that should be fortified, that should be compensated with. And how is that you are going to have a foolproof strategy when people are investing, when our natural resources are being invested, and these Adanis or Ambanis or whoever it is, if they are raising bonds and all, they are showcasing our natural resources and our human resources. How do we protect them from such attacks? Why governments are keeping quiet? Google and YouTube don't have legal officers here. Still, they are controlling us. They pull down our videos without any notice. We release a flyer poster with my mobile number, but all of a sudden they'll stop streaming. Without having legal officers of Google and YouTube, how is that they are flourishing in India? Why Prime Minister's office is keeping quiet? President to the Sarpanch, I don't know. I don't understand. This is absolute nonsense. Edinburgh, will you investigate into these things? Without having any locus standi, legal locus standi, how can you dictate, your companies can dictate terms to us? Is it not against the spirit of law of the land? If our politicians, administrators have become naive, if they don't understand, at least you should understand, because you are humanitarian. For you, rule of law, law of the land should prevail. Why don't you investigate into such type of things? COVID-19, everything. We will welcome you. Here also, the truth has to come out. Now, who has to investigate? That is a big question, because every party has turned black now after this show. Every citizen of India will understand. Now, who should be there in the JPC? Joint Parliament Committee, as being demanded by Rahul Gandhi. How do you answer that the participatory notes by your own finance minister, then Mr. P. Chidambaram, has made this round tripping, looting of our money, resources, and money legal? This is what we have been saying. The corruption, nepotism, favoritism, defeating transparency and accountability is a big, big curse. This is going to destroy the democracy. This is where we should be vigilant. And we have brought out why church should be opposing the port in Tiruvananthapuram. And the Communist Party there, headed by Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, and he is the one, this government is the one which is helping Adani to acquire ports and airports. The same Rajasthan Congress government inviting Adani to invest in renewable energy or different. What do you say about that? Even we have seen the Bihar of late. They're all opposition, Mr. Rahul Gandhi. So the pot calling the kettle black. Kiska Vikas, Kiska Vinash. And at least now Parliament should discuss, debate, even if you differ, that the country, the public sector units, or whoever it is, they should be controlling all this. Because the security, as well as you say, the development aspects, when they are involved, when the other country is trying to short circuit your growth, when they are trying to ruin your security as well as your economy, you cannot be sitting idle stating it is globalization phenomena, because you need to win at home to conquer the world. And why the acquiring of ports and all those big companies, energy companies or ports, is this drama all about these things encircling? Why should George Soros fund? Why should Vatican or churches should be interested in this? This is a big question. We leave it. And what is happening to Hindenburg in US itself? Is it not under the investigation? That doesn't mean that they cannot investigate or inquire. Definitely they have every right. But with absolute transparency. If they are quoting, as he rightly says, Miss Moitra, whose our party itself, I don't know who the members were involved in Sharda and Narada case. I don't know. Honestly, what is happening there? And of all this, stock exchange, National Stock Exchange, regulatory authorities like National Stock Exchange, or for that matter, round tripping Reserve Bank of India. How is that they are keeping calm and quiet? And who is heading them? Who is managing these organizations? And not only that, the National Stock Exchange, the ex-chairman, that time it was being funded by 5 shell companies belonging to China. Is this not right, Mr. Rahul Gandhi and all the opposition parties? When our own National Stock Exchange is being funded and controlled by such shell companies belonging to Chinese, then what better you expect? And the innocent average Indian investing in shares is a big loser. Government encouraging them to invest in shares instead of bonds, or shares instead of deposits, or investing in gold or whatever it is. How do you look at this scenario now? Who should be blamed? What should we do? One word from you, Mr. Ravichandran, before we wind up.
No, there is nothing much more that I can add. Only thing is, at the end of the day, it is the people who are the losers, and unless people start asking questions, irrespective of which party is in power, And unless there is a perfect transparency and accountability of party finances, we are not going to see any improvement. Today, online gambling, Gaming Act is a state subject. Just to give you a small example, Gaming Act is a state subject. A bureaucrat sitting in the Information Technology Ministry issues a circular saying that online gaming will be considered as an intermediary and it will be regulated by itself.
Nonsense.
So you are handing over the keys to the thief himself. You take care of it.
It is destroying so many lives.
And the finance minister is looking only at the income that is being generated.
Whether it
2.5
is
lakh crores as GST.
encouraging all that
2.5 lakh
nonsense.
crores as GST. Around
Yeah.
900 crores as income tax. 9,000 crores as income tax. This is what the finance ministry is looking. But they do not understand. So many people are dying. And number two, this law that the government is proposing by information technology bureaucrat itself will not stand the scrutiny of the court, because the state gaming act comes under the state, not under the center.
Yeah.
If any law is to be proposed, it has to be proposed in the state assembly, not in the central ministry.
Yes.
Or they can set it to parliament and ask the parliament to pass a law, legislate. But everything is going upside down in this country. Today, Supreme Court is introducing new laws. Your collegium is a law which was introduced by the Supreme Court, not by the parliament. So when the Supreme Court itself can cross the constitution, you and I can also do it. There is no point in talking about it at all.
So it's in shambles. As you rightly said, this chaos, disorder should be the one which should be addressed by the people, because every
Yes.
citizen
That
is a
people have
constitutional
to
authority.
address it, people have to ask questions, people have to insist on this.
Yes, because every
Only then.
citizen is a constitutional authority. From Prime Minister to
Yes.
Chief Minister, we have been telling they are all public servants. Why do you fear them when we are bringing out all the information? See, CIBIL, which banks quote for giving you a loan, that CIBIL servers, where are they? In America. Hindenburg, very calm and quiet. Our Prime Minister, Chief Minister, our Rahul Gandhi, opposition parties, keeping quiet. Google, YouTube, no legal officers here, still they try to control everything. No party speaks. And we have been saying so many corruption charges against so many political parties in every state. The central ministers have made in Telangana 40,000 crore scam, but government doesn't investigate. The same money, the ill-gotten wealth, the corrupt money is being used by these political parties to buy votes. Why? The electoral bonds, the funding of political parties have become opaque. This is what we have been crying hoarse. So all these political parties have to answer now, India. This is the bane of democracy. Election Commission of India keeps quiet, an independent body. How can you allow electoral bonds to become opaque? Which corporate company or who is funding whom, how much? This reveals the nexus that is shut down by Election Commission of India. And again, during COVID-19, they have increased the ceiling limits of spending, making elections more costlier and to move away from the common man once for all. That means, like America, you need funding of election. Such a beautiful democracy, India, is moving towards that capitalist state. That is why few people want to control. And see, when few people can control the resources, one instance of Hindenburg can put you into total economic disarray day in and day out, instead of speaking about the sufferings of the people, unemployment, the farmers' troubles, the education, the health, and the climate crisis, the environment degradation which is happening regularly. We are discussing about something of which the trigger is somewhere else. सात समुद्र के पीछे अमेरिका में the trigger, the we are suffering. That is the beauty of our administration. Even after independence, you are still enslaved. Is this okay, sir?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Anything else? Anything else you want to add? Nothing. So
No, that's
this is
thank
for
you very much.
today. This is for today, and we leave it to all respectable Indians, NRIs, and the citizens of the world also, because independence should not become dependence in the name of short circuiting the shares or companies, because it should be the will of the people which should prevail in any country. The sovereignty, the resources really matter. I hope people will understand. The parliament in session should come out clean, so that the confidence of the people is very much there in people participatory constitutional democracy. Do support DRTSPR channel, Citizen DRTSPR channel, and Environment People DRTSPR channels. They're all in larger public interest. Not just support, subscribe, share, and keep supporting. This share, those shares you invest, you try to invest in channels like this. They, at least these channels with wonderful guests like Ravichandran Swaminathan ji, day in and day out, they are coming out to the rescue of every citizen, because we feel it is our duty to give you the correct information without any prejudice, come whatever may. So, Sukha Nidra, Shubharatri for you all. Thank you very much, sir. Good night.
All right.